Hey there, here's another Synthesizer tutorial. This time we'll treat the supersaw sounds. As always, feel free to drop me a comment, or if you have any questions, I'll answer them. Here we go. So we need quite a lot of steps to create this typical trance sound. My first step is normally to use the first oscillator, switching it to a square, or bit squarey. And what I do then is I automate the pulse width of this oscillator with the first LFO. So what we have is this. This is already kind of detuned. We do the same stuff with the second oscillator, so giving it kind of a squarey shape. And as a next step, we just detune those two oscillators. After that, we're using a trick that you can do with the FM amount. We're putting the FM amount to 43. And then readjusting the detune of the two oscillators. After that, we'll just add a little bit more of oscillators. Here's a sub oscillator, and maybe activate the third oscillator to saw, detune it. The next step is to modulate the oscillator detuning with the LFO. So I'm just using the first LFO with that and detuning the first oscillator by 10 and the second one by -10. You can clearly hear that there's some kind of movement going on. And to add even more movement, we'll just use a phaser, a very slow one. Here it is. And since we want a slow one, we'll put the rate down to, let's say, 13. So there's a very slow movement in the sound now, and a frequency that modulates the mid frequency. Around the 70s. I'll leave the rest untouched for now. After that, I'll add some chorus, just randomly. Not too much, because you might destroy the sound. And of course, unisono mode. In this case, 3 voices, detune the max, 127. After that, I'm reducing the amount of the phaser because I just wanted to slightly modulate the sound. You can also add a little bit of noise to that. Gives a little bit more punch in the higher frequencies. And after that, I'm going wild with the equalizer. So I'm adding 10 decibels in the mid-range, around 1500. And another 8 dB, around 2000. And after that, we can add a little bit of distortion, maybe just a soft one to not ruin it. I like the light one better for this one. And that's just for the basic sound. Okay, now to the filter section. I'll just quickly adjust the amp envelope, adding a little bit of release. With the filter we do, we leave the first one to low pass, and the second filter we switch to band stop, which sounds like this. This kind of sounds like a phaser, and it was actually used as a phaser in with the first virus, the virus A. A lot of people used to modulate that second filter with a band stop to create some kind of phaser sound because the virus A didn't have one. What we're trying to do is we're looking for a frequency where this filter has the most balls. So after that little hole that it makes, where it's kind of lame, it goes up again. And this is the point we're looking for. Because what we're trying to do is, when we open the first filter, the second one will go up too. And as soon as it's fully open, we want the sound to be the biggest. And that's one of the biggest problems that a lot of soft synthesizers have, because when you open the filter, you have a really cool sounding envelope, but when you open it, there's nothing left. So with this one, we try to work against this problem, and it works with hardware and software as well. So now you have both filters. And you can hear how the second filter adds a little bit of sound to it. So if we just have the first one, it sounds like this. And with the second one, we have this one. So there's just a bit more punch when you open it. I'll just add a little bit of resonance to both of the filters, because it sounds good when the envelope is starting to work. And the next step is to actually do the envelope, and it's important that you leave the second filter untouched for that. So envelope just on the first one. Quickly do that. And that's it. Now back to both filters. Since most of those sounds actually exist of reverb, we'll just add a reverb at the end. In this case, I'm using the normal virus reverb, switching it to large room, quite a long reverb time, and damping it a little bit to not have too much muddy sounds in there. What I also like to do is just do a little bit of a negative color of the reverb to make it less intense in the higher frequencies. So what we have now is this one. Pre-delay, you can add a clock to it. I'm switching that to 8 to 1/8. And after doing all those steps, I normally just switch on an arpeggio, switch to hold, and readjust all the parts of the synth to make it sound proper.